that the last video just cut off. I don't really know what happened, but basically, yeah, I'm so tired of, like, this happens at least usually around once a month, that Sam will freak out, start a fight. Like, I never start a fight with Sam. Never. Even when Sam is irritating me, because I try to, and like, throughout this whole ranting, I just want everyone to know that if I am sounding like I'm trying to have a high horse or be on a high horse, or if I sound like I'm trying to toot my own horn, I apologize, because I'm not trying to sound like that. I'm very self-conscious about the way I talk about myself, actually, and I have a lot of, like, self-esteem problems. But anyways, whenever Sam is doing something that irritates me, I try to, like, take the mature route and, like, ask Sam about it, and, like, be not confrontational, but, like, you know what I mean, be mature, be firm, and, like, go up to Sam in person and be like, hey, like, can we talk about this thing or whatever. Whereas Sam does not do that. Sam literally instigates a fight at least once a month, sometimes more, and will go completely emotional, cuss at me, use swears and names, and, like, I cuss all the time. So it's not like that, but to me, there's a difference between cussing and cussing at someone. And I never cuss at Sam. I never call Sam names. I never make fun of Sam for their mental issues, but basically Sam always tries to make excuses for their mental issues. And, like, basically, I hate this term so much, and I hate the people that made it up, and I hate how they use it. But honestly, right now, it fits. Sam is, like, a total snowflake. Like, anytime Sam has, like, mental issues or anything like that, they blame it on me. And basically, like, anytime they do something that's bad to me, like, say that I'm lying or say that I'm stealing or whatever, they'll be like, I just have trust issues. I just have trust issues. Like, I have so much trust issues too. I've been in, like, abusive relationships. My parents were not good. You know what I mean? Like, I did not have a horrible childhood, like, I wasn't, like, beat every day or starving or anything like that, but it still was not good. My parents were not good and did not teach me a lot of good things growing up, and were not the best to me. So I have a lot of trust issues, a lot, with anyone. I don't trust anyone except myself, really. But I don't go around, like, it's not other people, like, it is other people's fault from my childhood that I have those issues, but, like, new people that I meet in my life and I make friends with, I don't blame them for my mental problems. I don't make excuses to not have to deal with it. Like, I'm not in therapy or anything like that, and Sam is in therapy, and in my opinion, Sam takes their therapy for granted, because I can't afford that shit. I have to do everything by myself, and honestly, through all the things that I've been through in my life, I don't even like therapists or doctors, because that usually ends up going really bad for me, because my mental issues are so not run-of-the-mill. I don't really like to talk about that stuff, because they try to drug me heavily when I don't need that. I can have a job and do things that other people do and have a house and all that shit. Like, I don't need to be drugged heavily. I don't need to be dependent on drugs. I just want to be sober, and I think it's fucked up that we live in a world where mentally ill people are basically considered, they have to be on, not everybody thinks that, but that mentally ill people have to be on drugs or they can't function, or, like, mentally ill people have to be medicated or you can't trust them, you know what I mean? Like, I have a job, I have a house, you know what I mean? I don't need to be on drugs, and I think it's fucked up that me saying I want to be sober, I've had a lot of therapists and doctors, like, tell me I should be ashamed, like, basically be like, well, it's not bad to be on medication. Like, yeah, if other people want to be on meds, go right ahead. I don't fucking want to. I want to be sober as a jaybird. And I'm getting there, and you know what I mean? Like, anybody that has gotten sober knows that it's not easy, that it's not instant, and I know that for Sam too, But Sam uses everything as a crutch and blames everybody else and their mental problems for all of their problems. And it's like, yes, mental illness is extremely difficult. I know. I still, I've been this way my whole life, and I still have suicidal thoughts and shit sometimes. I've tried to kill myself a bunch of times in the past. Thankfully, they were all unsuccessful. I'm glad that I never succeeded in killing myself, because I want to be alive, I want to be sober, and I want to be a strong person. And I don't think that Sam wants that. I think Sam wants to live the easier life of being dependent on things, and because it's easier, and I know that it's easier because I've been there. It's easier to put the blame on other people for your actions. It's a lot easier to put the blame on other people for you being dependent on a substance. It's just easier to act like you have no responsibility or control over yourself or anything, that you're just a victim to everything. And yes, there are some things with mental issues that you can't control, and I know that because I'm bipolar, and I go through very severe mood swings where I get very angry and I feel very violent, which is one of the things I don't like to have a therapist, because I can't talk about wanting to chop people's heads off and shit like that, because then they want to put me away. Obviously, I've never done it. I have never chopped anyone's head off. I haven't even gotten in a fist fight since high school, and I've been out of high school for a very long time now. Because I know that I can't do those things. I know that I can't just go murder people. I know that I can't just beat people up. You know what I mean? Like, just because I'm mentally ill doesn't mean I have a no moral compass. Sorry, I have a cold. That was disgusting. Excuse me. Excuse me again. But yeah, basically, anytime Sam does anything that's like rude or just like goes ballistic on people, it's always either the other person's fault when Sam started it, or it's because of Sam's so hard to control mental issues. And it's like, really? Because you get to go to therapy and you are on medication for it, and like, obviously people's issues are different than each other's, and nobody can tell how strong they are unless you're actually in their brain. But like, I'm telling you, when I'm psycho, I'm fucking psychotic. Like, I've done some psychotic shit in my life, and that's not a brag, you know what I mean? That's not something to brag about. That's just really what I've done. I've been in the psych ward. I've been, locked in a room by myself at the funny farm because I was fucking crazy. I've been hospitalized, stuff like that. So, but I realized, you know what I mean? I realized that I was destroying everyone's life around me. When I was doing drugs and shit, I was destroying everyone's life, and that I was killing myself. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I'm tired of even just, for people that do drugs, weed is very like, haha, that's so, high school. Like, kids smoke weed, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal. And for the most part, it's not. But I just don't like being dependent on it. And I don't like people who use the current trendiness and popularity of weed being legal to defend it as their crutch for not wanting to work on themselves and not wanting to improve, and blaming their problems on other people. And I feel like a lot of people think that because they're mentally ill, that means they get like a free out. They're like, oh, well, I'm this or I'm that, so that means you have to forgive me for these actions. And it's like, no, just because you're mentally ill, it doesn't mean, unless you're like so far gone that you're like an absolute nut. Because like, I've seen people like that in the crazy house. Like, they are not lucid. They don't know who they are, really. They are just so far beyond in craziness that they can't control themselves. And like, yes, there is some people like that, but for the most part, regular everyday mentally ill people, like, unless you're that bad, like, I'm sorry, you don't have an excuse to hurt other people. You don't have an excuse to be like abusive to other people. And like, I've never gotten a free pass for that. I've always had to face the music and dance every fucking time. I've always had to face my consequences every time I've stole pills out of people's house or called people liars or whatever. Like, anything that Sam has done now, I've also done, but I had to face consequences for it, and I had to own up to it. And I had to say that, yes, I did that and I was wrong and I was being a bad person. I can't just be like, oh, well, I'm mentally ill, so you have to just forgive me. Like, that's not how it works. And like I said, I hate the people that made up the word snowflake because they are way too far on the other end. They're too insensitive and they think that mental illness is like fake and that people just make it up for attention, which is not true. We're born that way. People that are mentally ill are born that way or made that way by a very bad upbringing. Sorry, my cold again. But yeah, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of being around somebody so much that throws fits because they're a fucking addict. And like, I have a belief. Some people believe this and some don't. That once you're an addict, you're always an addict. And I believe that of myself, you know what I mean? Like, I could not be in a room by myself with Xanax or Vicodin or something, even though I've been sober for years, because I would want to take it. I would want to snort it and do whatever, like any drugs. I was left alone in a room, I would want to do it. So that's why I purposefully distance myself from that and try to make a better life for myself. And Sam is just stuck in this like weird middle zone. Sorry that I'm going to the bathroom, but I honestly don't give a fuck. This is my YouTube. I can go to the toilet if I want to. But Sam is stuck in this gray area of like, yeah, they don't do Xanax or any other crazy shit, you know, beyond that. Like, we've both done worse than that, but they don't do that shit anymore. But they still are so dependent on getting pills from their psychiatrist, and they're so dependent on weed that without it, they like blow up and start accusing people of shit that they didn't do and calling them names and just straight up being an asshole. And like, I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous. I'm tired of that we're both the same age, but I'm the only one who can like be mature and not freak out, and that I have to suppress my craziness. You know, where in the past I've done things like throw shit at people, break windows, smash shit, you know what I mean? Like, go to people's house and fuck their shit up. Like, I've done some crazy shit. And I've paid my price for it, you know what I mean? I've faced my consequences for all my actions. And I'm tired of Sam blaming it on other people when it's them that's having the problem. And I'm tired of me having to be so strong all the time. And they just don't have to be because they don't want to. Because they can go to their therapist, or they can go take their medication or smoke a bunch or whatever, and I don't. And like, some of that is just me whining because I've chosen to do this, like chosen to be sober and all that stuff. And I know that I can do it. But some of it's annoying because I feel like you're being a snowflake and you're blaming other people for your problems and blaming your mental illness, which comes from you. It's inside your brain. And saying that you just don't have any control and that you just get to act however you want and hurt people whenever you want because you just can't stop. Excuse me. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say without repeating myself more times than I've already done. So I'll be back with the next rant whenever, I guess. See you later.